Good morning, my beautiful babes and babes. I am your resident active advocate, and I'm feeling a lot better than yesterday. I was tired yesterday. Ugh. Okay, so today I would like to talk to you about the opposite side of the coin that I had brought up yesterday. The first side of the coin, the heads, shall we say, is the dynamic of loving infantilization. The tails side of this coin is malicious infantilization. Both of these can come from without and can come from within. Today I'm going to talk about the without factor and how society perceives people with disabilities and in what ways they are capable of infantilizing us. I shouldn't say they, because I'm a member of society too. You know, there's no us, there's no them. We're all just one people. And the quicker we realize that, the quicker we will get rid of these dynamics of power that make us all look silly. So, when it comes to malicious infantilization, as I say, you get the opposite side of the coin from loving infantilization. Loving infantilization says, I am worried that you cannot do this. Therefore, I will not let you do this. Either because I don't want you to get hurt, or because I don't want you to make a fool of yourself, quote unquote, or various other reasons. You know, there's lots that go into creating these dynamics. However, when it comes to malicious infantilization, it's kind of the other way around. It's more in the way of, because you have not been allowed to do this thing, whatever the thing is, for X amount of time, we automatically assume that you cannot. Therefore, we will continue not to allow you to do this thing. Now, this comes in many different forms, but prime examples lay in employment, lay in education, even lay in the home. Because it is possible for a family to maliciously infantilize their child or their relative. They may not be doing it intentionally, but they can still do it. The whole point behind this is that the social dynamic has already been created, and it is a self-perpetuating cycle. As you can see, I'm, just moving my hand around in a circle. The whole idea is that you have not been allowed to do this thing. We will not allow you to do this thing. Therefore, you will not be allowed to be able to do this thing. And, back forth as the circle continues. The whole assumption, though, is that we do not want you to do this thing. That is what truly underlies malicious infantilization. We don't want you to do this thing because you're going to do it wrong. Right? And you can see me rolling my eyes. You're going to do it wrong. We automatically assume, because you are, quote, different, that you are going to do it wrong. Therefore, we are not even going to bother giving you the chance, because there are people who are, quote, better qualified than you to do this particular thing. So let's say when it comes to, I don't know, what happened in my own education, actually. Let's go back to that. I'm not going to specify grade levels. I'm not going to specify who these people were, but I'm going to give you an example of loving versus malicious. The example I gave yesterday was loving infantilization of the whole, you should not participate in this event because you could get hurt. You could collapse because it's physically taxing, and I have a congenital heart defect, as I said yesterday. So that is a liability to the school, to the teacher in question, but is also a liability to me. Theoretically, I could have gotten hurt. I could have worn myself out. A whole bunch of different factors that go into this. Whereas on the other side of that coin came the malicious infantilization much later in my educational career, where the person, they didn't accommodate my requirements. They didn't give me my accommodations, which, by the way, you are legally required to do. And I went to that person more than once about this, and they just kept saying to me, oh, no, you can go to the institution that covers this. Technically, what is supposed to happen, at least in Canada, is that your teacher is supposed to fill your needs by themselves. They'll be informed of what your needs are by the institution that this person was talking about. But once they are informed of what your needs are, and you, by the way, are supposed to advocate for yourself as well, just for added reinforcement. But once they are aware of what your needs are, they are supposed to fill them. Legally, that is a requirement. I'm not going to say legally they weren't doing their job, because I don't want to call anyone out too strongly. But legally, they weren't doing their job. So I think the idea behind malicious infantilization as well is that you should be pushed to the periphery because we, the majority, the non-disabled, don't want to have to deal with you. We don't want to have to look at you. We don't want to have to address your needs because they're too high needs. You're far too high needs, right? And we shouldn't have to deal with that. By nature, you are needy. By nature, we have decided you are an infant. So we infantilize you. That is malicious infantilization, and that is the force against which I would like to fight. Loving infantilization is done, as I said yesterday and as I have said today, is done for different reasons, even if it comes to the same ends. I am not interested in fighting against love, but I am interested in fighting against the suppression that it can create, even with the best intentions. So not only do I want to fight against the malicious side of this, but I want to fight against the suppression that can unknowingly take place when people do it, even for good reasons. Infantilization, full stop, is a bad thing. When it comes to any demographic, it doesn't just have to be people with disabilities. But the whole idea behind the malicious infantilization is we have decided through continual and long-term history, you cannot do this because you have not been allowed to do this. We will continue operating off of that assumption, and we will continue to shove you to the periphery because we have decided that you belong there based on what we perceive of you. This completely removes the person's accountability and autonomy from the picture. Being an adult means being accountable for your own actions, your own behaviors, what you say, what you do, what you think, what you feel. Being an adult also means having the autonomy to do these things. Those are not things that can, by nature, be given to you. You grow into having these things. And I fully believe that everyone can grow into having those things. But they are things that can be taken from you. And that is the ultimate form of enslavement, I think. To take someone's accountability and to take someone's autonomy and to say, we know better than you. We will make your decisions for you based on what's best for us, not based on what is best for you. Even if, on the loving end of this, they may think it's what is best for you. So, that's pretty much the summation of malicious infantilization. There's probably more to it than this. If I have to do part 2, I will. But tomorrow, I would like to talk about the infantilization of self, because this does happen too, and all of the social dynamics that surround that crazy situation. And this is not uncommon, okay? I'm going to emphasize this to begin with. It is not uncommon to infantilize yourself if you are a person who is deemed to be lesser or less capable, quotation marks on both, by society. So if I got a little intense, sorry, not sorry, basically. As I said at the beginning of this series, this is a very important topic to address. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I forgot to say that on yesterday's video, but like, comment, share, subscribe, because this is important, okay? This is the whole crux of the social strata in which people with disabilities are often forced to live. And I want it to be over. I want it to end, and it's not going to come from the top down. It has to come from us. Statistically, we have more numbers, so we have more power. We should do what we are capable of doing and work with that power that we have, both as a collective and as individuals. All right, so I will see you tomorrow to talk about the infantilization of self. Very hoity-toity, yes. And thank you for your lovely attention and participation. Mwah! Have a wonderful day.